We're going to go ahead and start our presentation today. Welcome, everybody. We've got a very interesting topic. We're going to be looking at doing custom forms in Microsoft Teams. And not only that, how to even do full solutions all within that interface. So thank you very much for coming. We have some special guests with us today from Eureka iTech. And we're going to go ahead and begin. Okay, so our presenter today is going to be Jose Zaldivar. He's with Eureka iTech. He's the managing director. This is a Microsoft solutions provider, and he's going to be talking to us about doing this custom form inside Microsoft Teams and how to really expand and utilize that Teams interface and how that can work with the Ultimate Forms tools. I'm Will Cooper. I'm the training coordinator for Infowise. I'm also a Microsoft solutions provider. I build custom solutions for customers and do a lot of things much like Jose. And just to tell you a little bit about Ultimate Forms, these are full, this is a platform that you can add into SharePoint and it lets you build out full solutions. It's completely within the SharePoint user interface and also within Teams, and it's a no-code based solution, so you don't have to do programming. We are going to do a drawing for an embroidered shirt at the end, so I hope you guys will stick around for that. And just some ground rules as far as the presentation today. If you'll notice in the interface, there's a questions panel, and we very much want to hear from you during the presentation and after with any kind of questions or comments that you have. And we'll try to answer those in the questions interface or even during the presentation. So go ahead and please be sure to do that. We'll go ahead and get started. And, oops, sorry, I'm just trying to get to my next slide here. There we go. Okay, so this is kind of how I think about our tools. So Ultimate Forms really is about trying to take out of the box what you get with SharePoint Online and Teams and all that and expanding those capabilities. So the add-ins, the things that we're going to show you today will let you do that. And this is something that is available. Our tools are available for Office 365 and on-premise. Naturally, for this presentation today, we're really focused on Microsoft Teams, which is part of Microsoft 365. So that's what we're going to look at. And that's it. So we're going to take a look at the solution. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Jose. And I'm going to go ahead and make him the presenter now.
Are we ready?
Yes, we are. Fire away, Jose. We're very interested in seeing what you got.
Thank you, Will. When I was invited to do this presentation, I was quite taken away by the content of it and what we're going to show you today. We're excited to be part of this as a business partner of Infowise, and there are other partners as well that are able to do this for you too. Let's get started. My name is Jose Zaldivar. I work for Eureka iTech, and my partner as well, Mark Cosby, who is just sitting here as well with me. We'll go through the slide deck here that we have prepared for you. One of the agenda for today is we're going to show you build custom forms and workflow without any code. We'll show you as well how to integrate the forms into Teams, what that looks like, and the Ultimate Forms web parts, how to add the features and accessibility. And finally, the main goal of this presentation is to showcase a real-world business solution that we have put together. So just to show you guys what you could probably do with this tool. So we're excited to get started. Let's go back to building in forms and workflow without code. I think what you're going to find through using the Ultimate Forms is that the user experience can be definitely enhanced. There are plenty of widgets and plenty of things you can use with Ultimate Forms that are really hard to find anywhere else. So when we started taking a look at Ultimate Forms, we found that how quickly you can build solution was amazing to us. It was incredible experience of kind of putting forms together in a way that enriched that user interface. We were able to also adapt to changes quickly too. If we live in a world where things change constantly, and this Infowise toolkit allow us to adapt quite quickly to the changes that are required. if you're working in the SharePoint forms, you're faced with either these two solutions. You have the Power Apps component, or you have the default interface that we normally use on on SharePoint. So when you're faced with what to do with these forms, you kind of wonder, is there a better way? Is there a better way to present this information to users? And so, when you compare that form to this, it's quite a change. You can lay out the forms and the fields in a different way with your tabs and look and feel, and you can really go crazy with the design of the form to make it fit. We're very creative in how we design forms. So here's an example of the form that we're going to talk about that in a minute later. Here's another one for another company in New York that is doing efficiency services for buildings and so forth. So the layout of the form can be very creative and change depending on the requirements that you see fit. So here's another example of another client that we have. That is, we were able to integrate Google Maps into the interface as well to provide a rich interface on how that looks like. So as you can see, the variety of different solutions can be quite breathtaking in terms of what the variety of things that you can implement with the tool. Not only do you can do that, but you can also implement calendars as well. So you can bring the information together from different sources in lists and publish that in a calendar format, or even in a Gantt chart as well. So, or even also 3D charts as well. There are many possibilities of things you could do with charts as well that we were quite pleased that we could do out of the box. So the tool itself is quite rich, and I think you're going to enjoy it using it. So here we have integrated with Infowise Ultimate Forms into Teams. So I would like to touch base on this as well. The documentation is quite through. There's a lot of details on how to do it, so you can just go ahead and take a look at that yourself. But I want to highlight, the 4 or 5 steps that you need to do to integrate Infowise into Teams. So you download the extensions, you enable the extensions right on the SharePoint catalog, you deploy the extension, and then you synchronize with Teams. And once it's successfully synchronized with Teams, then it's available automatically in Teams, and you can use them as you see required. So obviously, all of these Infowise apps will be available to you, but you also have to do or enable the different components within SharePoint before you can start using them in Teams. But more on that later. So here's how you, for example, add a new tab for Infowise and Infowise Calendar. In this case, you search for Infowise, you pick Infowise Calendar, you add it to the team, you connect it to the SharePoint, you select what profile you want to show, and voila, you have that tab already created within Teams that shows up, that shows the calendar or the Gantt chart of the projects right on there. So quite simple to do. I was quite pleased to see that a tool like this was so easy to deploy and so rich in the interface. It works on mobile devices as well. So to me, that was a huge plus that I can actually deploy this on mobile devices. So here is another way that you can integrate with the web parts. So this is not new. I mean, there's plenty of training material on the Infowise Solutions website that you can go through and learn more about this, but this is how you normally do it. You go through, you create a new page, and in here, you just add the different Infowise widgets into the page. In this case, we're going to just publish a chart, and voila, you have the web part, and the information that you have on this web part can now be also integrated in Teams as well. So we're going to show you that as well. But moving on to the real world business solution, we're pleased that our client here at Chorley Construction, based in Edmonton, gave us the opportunity to showcase a recent solution that we just deployed to them actually in April. And so they're based in Calgary in Canada, but they have offices in Edmonton as well. And they install cladding products on buildings. So focus on commercial, industrial, and multi-family projects. Very well known in the industry here around the focus on quality products and installations. So they're well known. What was the business problem for them? I think talking through them about a few months ago, they like many of us were forced to work remotely, and they needed a way for the team to collaborate and to communicate better. We were not able to go and get to the same office, so like many of us, we're all working remotely. And so they found Teams as a way for them to share information and share files and have Teams meetings and so forth. And so they were quite pleased with it, with Teams and how it works. But they don't even know SharePoint at that point. They were just kind of using Teams out of the box and implemented all the typical features that you come out of the box in Teams. So they wanted to, once they started using Teams, they found that they could use Teams for other things as well. And they were looking to see if they can enhance that interface and add some of the business processes to it. So they engaged us, we met with them, we reviewed their priorities, discussed different options that they can do, including Power Apps and Flow, and we landed that the best option for them was Infowise Ultimate Forms. Within a month, we were able to complete the development, and we just launched it actually in April, this month, and so they're already kind of populating the data and started using it. So some of the data that you are going to see here is all demo data, but it will give you a really good overview of how that works. So let's explore the solution. We're going to show you guys what we did here for the Teams integration, how you can enhance the form interface, the form, how easy it is to use. We'll showcase a couple of things that you can do with Google Maps and Power BI integration, and also the mobile interface to enhance that interface as well, so you could do daily logs, what they call it, to enter information from the field into Teams. But with that in mind, let's switch over to the actual interface here. As you can see here, this is the Teams normal team that we created for the purpose of this demo. As you can see it right away, that the interface is quite familiar to many of you that are already using Teams. This is not a surprise. This is not different than what you're already seeing in Teams, where you can create lists and create the different interfaces that comes out of the box in Teams. So what we're able to do here is to connect the data to Team tab here, jobs, and in this case, kind of list all the jobs that they have. For the purpose of this demonstration here, we just added a few widgets in here. You can see the percentage of the job completed and the statuses. So I think from the user standpoint, it's very simple, easy, intuitive. They can switch. It's not very busy, and they can switch the different views in Teams to kind of get to the information that they're looking for. With that in mind, I'm going to kind of dive into an example of one of the forms that we built for them, the test job in this case, where it launches the interface now, and you can see already that this is not the usual SharePoint interface that is really hard to navigate and see. We were able to deploy it and build a solution for them that is really focused on what they actually need to see as they progress through the creation of the different jobs. So you have the job setup, the job notes, contact information, audits, and reporting features as well, where we were able to include a Power BI report right into the interface so they can actually drill down on the different details of the form. So let's take a quick look at it. Well, so here you have the interface. You click on the job location as well. We were able to integrate Google Maps into the interface as well, so you can search on a specific address or go to Google Earth or turn on the Street View to actually see where the location of the job is found. So that's also a very rich feature. One of the things that I like about Infowise is how easy things are to integrate with other components in the SharePoint world. So for example, here we have a drop-down where you enter the customer name, and as you browse on top of the customer, then automatically pulls out all the details about the customer without me doing any work whatsoever. So this part of the things is what makes Infowise Solutions a really compelling offer, or a really compelling tool for us to offer to our clients, because out of the box, you can do many of these features that are very complex to do if you need to use other things like Power App platform. You can enable buttons, and you can do a number of things within the tool. As well, you can enrich the interface in multiple ways. You can pull the information from lists, in this case, we have here a list, and then we're going to turn this page into edit mode. So let's put it into edit mode. Let's scroll up, and you can see that the buttons are enabled, and I kind of showed you case what that interface looks like. As you can see here, the built-in the job items are collapsibles. You can add your items in here. You can have pop-ups that showcases or allows you to add information on demand and adjust it as you see needed. So the interface is quite rich. You have drop-downs, and you can do a number of things with the GUID, as well as being able to add things right on the fly as lists as well. So this is actually very powerful, allow us to provide our users with a much richer interface on how to kind of populate the data and add other buttons to it as we needed. Products as well as snapshots and initial budgets. So you can see the interface is quite rich. You can do a lot of things with very little effort. And daily logs as well. So as you can see here, we take a look now how it's actually built out here in the Infowise Forms. If we turn the Infowise now design panel here, this is what you see. So as you can see, it's very close, it's not exact to actually you see when the form is published. As you can see here, the job notes, everything is plug and play. We actually didn't develop much code here. It's all no code whatsoever, which is fun because we don't like to write code unless we have to. So it's really all the panels here, how you create the different tabs. It's all kind of driven by this. It's got a lot of options as you go through, and it's creating rules and validation and styles to be able to do what you want to do. They did an amazing job in building this interface for us that allow us to do what we need to do in a very short little time. So you can see the interfaces and how you published the design of the forms, right? So it's we're actually pretty pleased with this because we can actually do a lot of things with the interface itself that otherwise would be difficult to do. For example, here we can add, if you are into, customizing your own style sheets, you can add it as well. If you want to add some JavaScript onto the form that is not included into the Infowise, you can do that as well. And also it allows you to do other things with the form that are complicated to do in other systems. For example, one of the things that they wanted to do was the ability for users, which is a construction company, so they have daily logs that they need to submit online. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to create an interface for the foreman to be able to submit daily logs online. So we created for them, we used the same the Infowise forms, a form as well for them to submit online. So here is where you can, select the job. So this works on your phone, on the phone as well. So you can, the foreman will go ahead and start picking up the job and start proceeding to enter the information as they see needed on the form. So as you can see, it's very intuitive on how that works and all the things you can do with the form, including adding photos to it as well. So that's great. And even a signature field at the bottom. So all of this comes with the product itself. We didn't have to purchase anything else. It's just out of the box, you enable it and you go for it. There's plenty of documentation on the Infowise solution website that allows you to see how it all works. And in the event that you don't know how to do this, their support team is spectacular. It usually takes less than a few hours for them to reply and to let me know how to do a specific thing. So for me, that's a huge plus of working with the Infowise tools. So there are plenty of things in here to do. I want to kind of check here with Will, how are we doing? Is there any we can dive more?
You're doing a great job. I think what's really amazing about this to me is the fact that, normally in teams, it's great for interface between team members and things like that, but there really is no concept of forms or charts or a concept of building solutions that are in the Teams interface. And that's what's so amazing about this. And so I think the key thing is out of the box, it's just, you can't do this. You can't do it with what you get with your regular Microsoft subscription. But with these extra tools, it's possible. And it's pretty amazing, all the things that you guys have built. And I think the most important question, Jose, is, how do you begin? Because I think there were a lot of things you figured out along the way as you guys have interfaced with that. To me, that's kind of the important part of the story. Maybe you can talk about your process at the beginning of the project and how you started to build out the interface. How did you take the
Yeah.
requirements from the customer, and what was the beginning of the project like?
The beginning of the project for us was just traditional, kind of taking a look at the user business requirements and try to break down into specific value-added features that they needed to get going. So we used a lot of agile kind of methodology to make sure that we were on target with the different things that they needed to do. And so this is the approach that we took to developing the solution. We're not quite complete with it. We have other phases to this project that we're going to be enabling with the client in the future, but we wanted to start using it. The ability for us to build the solutions on Infowise, it allowed us to do things in stages. So we built, the form first, and then we added other components to it as the business started to use the application. How you start with this, you basically go back to, SharePoint behind the scenes and start enabling the Infowise components into it. So if we take a quick a look behind the scenes, here how this works. If I close this form, you can always, within Teams interface, you can launch the full open in SharePoint interface and see how that all works behind the scenes. Once you have this interface built out, then you open the designer tool, and then you just kind of keep working through the different aspects of the form. So you have not done, if you want to deploy Infowise, it's quite simple to install. You install it, download it, and get it installed on the app catalog. And then before you know it, you have all of this at your disposition to work with.
Hey, Jose, I got a real good question from somebody. They asked about workflow. And, with Infowise, there's the actions. Can you, don't have to dive deep, but maybe briefly talk about how you're able to do that with these tools?
Yeah, so with workflow, everything here that, and this is just a very simple model, but we were taken away by all the different features that you could do with actions. Actions really, it's very rich. You can do a number of things with actions that are really complex to do otherwise. So for example, here you have a number of actions that you can perform: create a list item, delete, copy, send an email, run a workflow. If you want to run a workflow in Infowise, you can do that as well. Create lists, create sites. One of the things that we liked about a lot is ability to update list items. And it's very rich. You can do a number of things with the action that is really complex to do if you're trying to use Power Automate as well. Everything is coded, is really easy to use because everything is just, choose the field that you want, what formula you like to throw in there, and how would you like that to be set. So we were able to actually avoid having to go through the Power Automate world and start building, flows in there, because we can do the majority of them right here in this interface, and it allows us to do other things like tracking and performance, and also validation as well. So it's very, to be honest, I mean, we use Power Automate for very little. If not, in this case, we didn't, for this particular client, we didn't even go down that path.
Nice. Hey, Jose, that's awesome. I'm going to take you off the hot seat for the moment. This is really cool stuff. I love talking with Jose because both of us, eat and breathe working and building these solutions. And, Jose's got lots of really cool ideas, and we like to share and really have a lot of fun with it. I want to make sure we talk about how people can get started, because really that's the most important question. So I'm going to share a few things about that and talk about next steps. And we're going to do a drawing for give you guys, somebody's going to get a free shirt. And then we'll just keep open on the session. So if you do have open questions, just be patient. We'll stay on here for you. I'm going to switch over to my screen. Jose, that stuff is so awesome. Thank you so much for putting together all this presentation for us. This is really going to open some possibilities for a lot of people today.
Yeah, you're welcome. If anybody is interested in learning more about it, please let us know. Go ahead.
Okay. Just trying to make sure I'm on the right screen. I am. Okay. Sorry. I just want to make sure I'm not going crazy here. Okay. So this is how you get started. That's really what I want to share with you today. There's got to be a million questions for those of you who want to have a solution and have forms and teams. And you have to do it one step at a time, and this is how you begin. Luckily, it's easy to get started. If you go out to the InfowiseSolutions.com site, click on the big green button in the upper right, it says Quick Start. The most important thing for you to do to get started is to try using some of these tools yourself. So if you go in there under Quick Start, you'll see some options for sandbox, online trial, installation. You can either install in your own environment a trial that's free, has all these tools for 30 days, or you can do the online trial, and that takes you literally 2 minutes. It'll spin up a site on our tenant, and you can start playing around, especially with the form designer. If you want help building the solution, eventually Jose and his team at Eureka iTech, they're going to be happy to help you out. We're going to link to that from the video. They're also listed along with our other certified solutions providers on our website. You can find that under resources and just go to our partners page. We have lots and lots of training information on our site and tutorials that's going to tell you how you do this stuff. Getting started for a lot of our new customers, we encourage them to sign up for a training session. So you can look at the instructor-led training page there. All the technical documentation is under our tutorial section. There's, I think, about 150 articles on this page. Every little piece and part of functionality, so all kinds of things to help you learn. There's a lot to it there. So that's how you can do that. Right now in the chat, what we're going to do is just give away a shirt. I'm going to give you guys about 20 seconds. What I want you to do is make one guess, 1 to 100, throw in the chat. One comment, this is for inside the United States only. Sorry, that's just because the postage gets crazy for us otherwise. I'm going to go ahead and pick a winner in about 10 more seconds. Whoever gets closest to my magic number. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And I've got a winner, and it looks like it's Jamel Wren. Jamel, what you need to do is send me an email to willc@infowisesolutions.com. That's WILLC at infowisesolutions.com. I'll need your address. I'll need your shirt size, so I'll get that out to you today. So that's really what we're going to share. I hope that makes you guys interested and curious and know enough to get started and move down this path. I do want to say that you have a couple of ways to approach this. You can work with this software and work from our information and go ahead and get going with these forms yourself. Or alternatively, certainly you can work with Jose and his team. They're going to be happy to help you out with this as well. Either way, you've got a great opportunity here to build out solutions and teams. So I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. We'll load this on YouTube later today.